Hey, so this is a video. Let me move myself up to the top so I can see it. This is a video on Nuxt Ionic. There was a tweet about it last week. It was pretty interesting. I played with it a bit over the weekend, kind of did some back and forth with the developer, found some issues with Ionic, got the issue with Ionic resolved, and so now I'm going to kind of give it a go. I think it's pretty cool. It removes a lot of the additional configuration that I had to do when I integrated Ionic with Nuxt. I like the way it integrates the Ionic router in there, so you get the animations, and they preload all the Ionic components, so it's a nice, neat little tool. I'm going to show how I've not only integrated it to build a PWA, but also to go all the way through to the end and kind of deploy to an actual device using the Ionic plugin for Visual Studio Code. I think it's a much cleaner approach using the Ionic plugin than using all the command line tools. But overall, it's a pretty cool implementation. I will probably try it out a little bit more to dig deeper to see if it really does make the whole development experience a lot easier versus just doing it with regular vue.js. So that's what we got in this video. Not sure how long it's going to be, but just bear with me. I'll put the timestamps in it so you can kind of bounce around if you want to, but let's get it started. But please make sure you hit the like and subscribe, share this video, and leave comments if there's other things that you might find interesting. Just to cover all the things we're going to use Nuxt Ionic's package. We are going to use Ionic Vue. Clearly, we need to create a project with Nuxt 3. And, as I mentioned earlier, I've done this a few times already. So I have, please check out on my YouTube channel. I'll put the link below. And you can see I have 3 videos on integrating. Well, this is kind of the first one, to just get Ionic and Capacitor with Nuxt together. Then I kind of add some Ionic components, and then down here I kind of go all in. I add Supabase and do some other interesting things with it. So please check all this stuff out. And now let's try to get to it. So let's switch over here to Ionic Nuxt. And we need to kind of create our project. So we're going to come over here to Nuxt, and we're going to go the npm route. So copy this command, just drop it in here, and let's zoom this up a bit. Everyone can see what we're doing. And let that rip. And then let's cd nuxt app. And before we kind of do our big npm, let's just go ahead. Let's get over here to nuxt.config, and I don't use the yarn, but I'm pretty certain I can just do npm install -d nuxt ionic inic to it. So everything's built. Let's open Sky code. And now let's move my head down to the bottom. And let's zoom this in a bit. And there's a few changes we need to make. So if we pop back over here to this getting started, let's put me down here. And we've done, well, let's get started. Okay, we've added it. Now let's update our Nuxt config. So our Nuxt config is updated. Okay. First time we start a Nuxt project with Nuxt Ionic, enable the Ionic config.json file will be created. So we'll wait till we start it up and see. We are going to remove this app config because we don't need it. This is interesting. We're replacing it with a custom one starting with this template. So we're not going to use a custom one at this point. We're just going to take the one that they currently provide. So we'll go back, because that should be enough to get us going. and then capacitor. Like, this is what we're not going to do. Like, we're not going to take this approach. What we're going to do is we're going to use the Ionic plugin here. And you can see that with the Ionic plugin, it allows you to add capacitor integration. So it says integrate with capacitor to make this project native. And if I say add capacitor, it should add all the capacitor stuff. So all the capacitor stuff has been added, and then there's a little bit of cleanup you have to do if you take this approach. So if you go in here and you look at your capacitor config.json, see a couple of things. You have this com unnamed. It doesn't have an app ID for your project, and I believe that is because, sure, I don't want to move anything. I believe that is because if we look at our package.json, Ionic, this plugin likes to have a name in here. And so when there's no name, it just kind of bugs out. So we're going to put a name in here. We're going to call this, we're not going to call it sugar. We're going to call it Nuxt app. Nuxt. Well, let's do this. Ionic Nuxt app. That's what we're going to call it. Right, so now, let's put this in quotes so it's happy. So now we're going to take my Ionic Nuxt app, and then I'm going to go here to my Ionic config, and I'm going to put my name in here, and my capacitor config, and I'm going to say com aks dot Nuxt app, and I'm going to put it in here. The other thing is this web directory is not www. I believe that this is mentioned later somewhere in here. Actually, it looks like it is not mentioned in here. Let's see. We have a capacitor. Maybe if you go through this approach, there's a prompt for it, but you need to switch the web directory here to dist because that's where the output will go when you're done building. And then let's go to my Ionic config. That's good. Nuxt config. That's good. And let's look at our package JSON. So the Ionic build. So when we do this Ionic build, I think we want to not only build it. Build. No. This needs to be run generate. Because when you run this build, and they're saying Ionic build, I'm running this Copilot, it's kind of getting annoying, so I'm just going to kind of try to annoy everything. But the reason why I want to change this to run generate here is because I'm going to use this Ionic build tool, and when I use this Ionic build tool, capacitor build is going to look for this Ionic build command, and I want the build command to be the generate. And the generate will put the code in the dist directory, which is where capacitor will use it when it attempts to deploy to a mobile device. So that's what all of this is about. And let's just add my Android project right now. So let's add Android. So I'll add all the Android dependencies. Sync cannot run, missing dist directory. Oh, there's no, all right. So it couldn't, this error saying sync cannot run because it's missing dist directory. It's because I haven't run generate or build yet. So let's close this. You can see we have web and Android here. But everything else looks like we're good to go. So first, let's just run this the plain old Nuxt way and make sure that everything is running fine locally. And so let's see, do I got a terminal here? It looks like I don't, so let's create a terminal window, new terminal. And then if, did I set my, I thought I did that correctly. Let me just go back here and make sure. My Nuxt config. And you can, yeah, I think what he said is that this code will work without setting anything, so I should be good to go. So if we just go back to our normal Nuxt, we should be able to just do an npm run dev. So let's see what we get. I should actually, now I'm thinking about it, I should sub-ionic router right pages directory. Oh, let me put a base page in there. So there's no pages directory. So let's go back up here and let's add pages. And we're going to add a home page, view. And then in my home page, a template, script, lang ts, and let's set up. And up here, so now we have our script. Up here, let's put some of the usual Ionic stuff in. We'll take their homepage copy, but then we'll add our Ionic. And so we need our. I just know how this goes, and so I know I need my Ion page. And you can see we're getting our components, which is what we wanted before. So now I have my page, and then inside my page, I have my Ion content. And so let's wrap this with our Ion content. What's that doing? No, Ion. Oh, I didn't close it here. That's what was going on. Okay. And so that's the basics. Ionic page, Ionic content. That's my template. That's my setup. And I should have something to show now. So let's get a page here. And where's this thing running? It is running on localhost 3000. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, I missed the last thing, which he also mentions in the documentation, which is when they're talking about page routing, since we are using kind of the page routing this way, and I did not name this page index page, I need to add this defined meta so that it knows where the default page is. So if I go to my pages, and then I go down here inside my setup, and I add my alias. So hopefully, let's see, did we get something now? I need to actually delete the file, my bad. So I deleted the file. There we go. And now let's try again. And now I'm getting my home page. But what we want to see is, like, we're here because we want to see the Ionic stuff work. So let's put an Ion button color.danger. A button. And so we get, let's add our classes. I mean, the cool thing about it is, the reason why we're going this way is just for a much better developer experience. And as you can see, let me zoom this in. This is a much better developer experience, a little bit faster. Let's add our, what am I doing here? Class equals Ion padding. Where are my Ionic classes? Why is my Ionic class not coming in? That's interesting. So it's got the default classes, but not the utility classes is what it looks like is happening. So let me go back here and try modifying this config. So if I go down here, and as he mentioned in the configuration, you can customize some of it. I didn't think I would need to, but down here in this CSS, let's copy this. And down here in my CSS, what are my options? I'm just going to set them all to true. True. Core. True. I don't think components. CSS core basic utilities. utilities true. Well, let's set all those. And now see what we get. I think it's not happy because I changed the configuration, so let's stop it and restart it. All right, so actually, it's funny, after I made the change, you can see now I'm getting the styles. So next up, let's kind of add a little bit more to the page stuff and then see if we can deploy this thing to the device. So let's go back here in our home page and kind of give it the full Ionic treatment. So we need our Ion header, and then inside of our header, we have our Ion toolbar. And inside of our toolbar, we have our Ion title. Let's fix that. For those of you who have been using Vue with Ionic, I mean, just the fact that we don't have to sit here and type in and include all these damn components is almost makes it worth it just for that feature. All right, so we have, there seems to be a big gap there. And header to the gap really, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm zoomed in so big it looks like that's a huge gap, but I guess that looks a lot bigger than it normally does. Page, header, toolbar. I guess that is right. Right, and then also just to, let's try some other tricks. Let's add our Ion buttons. And I did that slot. And then of course, let's add Ion button VUTDON. And let's do this. What are my options here? Expand. I don't want to do expand. What is it? Style? Oh, it's. All right, so now we have our logout button. So it was just cool to see how quickly everything kind of came together there. And so obviously the other thing you want to do is you want to show how you can navigate and how we get the normal animations. So let's just copy all of my home page and go back over here and create a new page called next page. Paste all that in here. And we're going to call this next page. And we don't need any additional buttons on this next page. Actually, what we do, we want to show the navigation working, so we're just going to move this up to the top here, and we're going to say start, and we're going to change this to the Ion back button. Back. VSCode. And I'm 99% certain that Ion back, yeah, I spelled that wrong. I believe that is what it should be. And format this, start, Ion back button, next page, next page. We can remove this. We can remove this because I should be able to get to it. And okay, so now let's go to our, oh, this is incorrect. We do not want to define the alias for that. Actually, I do like that. So let's define the alias to just next. Let's do that. Then we can get to it by just using the route of next. So let's go to our home page, and what we're going to do is, actually we can do this or home. So let's get them both in there. And then what we can do on this page is we can do an on click. We don't need all that. So we'll just do on click, and then we're going to say ion router dot push next. And what we're going to do is we'll go down here, and inside our code we'll do const and so now ion router should be exposed inside of, this is not using the right formatting tool. Let's see if that cleans it up. No, that doesn't. Let's try this. Format document width. Prettier. Okay. Push next. Oh, they put some extra stuff in there, so this does not belong in there. And this belongs up here. And now we're straight. So now let's go back home. So we have our home page. Why is my next page ion click, ion router push? What did I do? Use ion router. That is correct. This is I'm mixing my damn I'm mixing my Vue with React. And let's put this back to next. And so we get the nice little back button that's built in for us, and so it's kind of navigating all that. And so that's pretty awesome. Now here's the next part, which is what we really want to do is, I can run this app here, but let's get it on device. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use the awesome Ionic component. We already went through and did the configuration. I have Android set up, so I can go up here and let's see if I have everything set, if I can push this thing to an Android device. First, let's see if we can push it to a, you can see I have my Samsung plugged in, but first let's just try to push it to an emulator and see what we get. So Capacitor is building everything. You can see it created this directory, which has the output content that's going to get pushed to the device. And here's my emulator. Hopefully, usually I have a problem getting this thing to work the first time. So hopefully this thing will, looks like it's going to spin up for me this very first time. And you can see we now have our app running on device, which is what we wanted. I can navigate to my next page. I get my nice animations, and everything's pretty dope. The last thing, of course, is to do, we have to do the usual, camera demo, since everyone always wants to see a plugin working in it. So let's move this out of the way here, and let's go in and no, actually, I think what might be, let's just do the plugin. Let's just follow a simple route of the plugin. In the next video, I'll show a more complex user interface. I know in the Stack Blitz that I need to say he. I need to stop saying he and give this dude a shout out. So this is not a he. This is actually a real person. So let me get to him. Done. He doesn't have his Twitter on here. Doesn't have his GitHub on here. Oh man, I think it's Daniel Roe. Let me just make sure I'm right, so I can give him his love. DanielRoe. Yeah. So this is the dude that put this together. Right here, if you're interested in developing with iOS, Android, and web, check this out. So Daniel Roe. So I gave him his shout out. So now let me get back to what I was doing. So what we're going to do now is, the whole idea is build all blah, blah, code base, all view, blah, But let's get to a capacitor plugin. So let's just do capacitor.com. Get your map. We don't want our map. We're going to use a core plugin. I believe the core plugins are, I think camera's one. So it's capacitor camera. So we're going to drop this guy in. So what you can do with this plugin, not with the plugin, but with the Ionic tool, is you just go over here and you say capacitor plugin, and I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to add the camera, enter, installs it. Boom, bam, boom. Everything's straight. You can look here. Move my head. You can see now the camera plugin's been installed. We will just keep it simple and stay right here on this page. We can close this for now. This is the home page, so we always have our button. And let's add another button here. And keep this simple. Do camera. Remove this. And remove this. Camera. And where's my app? I got my camera. Yo. Let's cancel and see what's going on. Looks like it got stuck. Let's try again. Let's put my do camera function in because that might be causing things to bug. Const. Look at that. That's actually that's pretty dope. Actually, let's just, although that was cool, let's just copy what they have in the example. Because they got way more stuff going on here than I really want. So I'm just going to copy this code here and put it all inside of my do camera. And set my do camera to async. And what we want to do is we can get all this crap out of the way because I don't need it. All we really want to show is that it works on device. So we will go into, let's go here, const image URL equals use ref. Import. Sorry, it's not user ref, it's ref. What am I doing? Like I said, from Vue. I'm getting my React and my Vue mixed up. And so we're going to use this image URL value. And we're going to say here, once we get our image URL, we're going to say image URL dot value. And then what we'll do is at the bottom underneath our buttons, we'll just use an ion image. And we will set the source to be our image. Where's my image ref? Let's do this. So that should render our, whatever image we get from the camera, that should draw it. So we will do our do camera, undo camera. We'll click the button on the click. We will call our do camera function. Our do camera will take the picture. It will take the path, assign it. Actually, let's save some code. We can just do this. We will set the value to our ref. The value to the ref will force the reactiveness, and then we should get our image on our page. So first, let's try it out locally. Not there, not there, not there, not there. I think it's here. All right. There's no camera here. Let's see, did I do this right? Unclick, danger, push. Let me make sure I'm not throwing any errors. JavaScript console. Minimum scale, middle scale, suspension. Unavailable PW camera mode. See, right? There's no camera set on the PWA mode, so I didn't set that up. I actually need to investigate how you would actually set that up. But let's just go straight to the device now. So let's close this window. And let's go back to our Ionic device. Let's tell it, hey, rebuild on my pixel. And so let's see what's going on our output. So it's still building. It's deploying. And so here's our new app. Let's try the camera. Of course, it's not going to work because it's on this thing. So we get this kind of weird, bizarre picture. Take the picture. Yes, the picture's fine. And I'm going to use the original. Done. Then save. And there's my picture. Now what I'm going to do now, and there'll be a little switch in the video, I'm going to, well, first let's move this off. Because what we really want to do is see this run on device. So we'll go here, we'll click to pick a new device. My Samsung. Let me get this here. So this is my Samsung device. I'm going to deploy this on the device and kind of take the picture and show you what we got. So first, so we have it set up. So let's do our Samsung. Okay. I think can I switch this to all me now? Oh, yeah. So, see app running on device. Next app. So let's click on that. This is the app that we saw. Let's take a picture. Let's take a picture. There's a picture of my desk with my glasses. Okay. And we'll just enhance it a little bit. We'll save it. And then there's a picture in the app. So that's basically it running on device. Thanks. So this is pretty awesome stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will upload the source code so that you can take a look at it, and we'll see you next time. Peace.